And we are live. I am here with the future, Ian Garry. Ian, love the name that you've given yourself.
Look, it's reality. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I might as well have it now. I might as well start calling myself the champ now. It's already the case.
I love it. All part of the visualization as well. So for anyone who's been living under a rock, Ian, you're taking part in the Cage Warriors welterweight tournament. The 4-man tournament is over 2 separate nights. So the final will be at the next trilogy. And it's
Unfortunately.
I would have been cool, but I've heard Graham say a few times that he sometimes thinks maybe the rightful champion doesn't always come out of one night tournaments just because of injuries and stuff like that. So there's a lot to unpack with this. There's a lot to unpack. First of all, we've been talking about it for ages, when you were going to get your shot at the title. Now there's a clear path. There's 2 fights and then the belt. So how are you feeling?
How do you think I'm feeling, Katie? It's all mapped out. We're ready to go. It's right in front of us. We've just got to beat Rostem, and then I'll beat either Firminas and Grant to get my belt. I've been saying this for ages. It's my belt. I put down the welterweight champ there because I am the best in the division. It's plain and simple. So I mean, I've been saying this for how long, that I'm the best, that I'm going to get that belt, I'm going to get that belt. No one's going to stop me. I like the fact that people think they can, but guess what? They can't.
So let's talk about your opponent next Friday, Rostem Akman. He's coming fresh from the UFC. Another person who's a bit unlucky, just had 2 fights in the UFC, lost 2 decisions, one to Jake Matthews. Quite savage for him to be cut, but that's what they do. How do you feel about fighting him?
I mean, obviously the fact that he's been at the highest level and he's been in the UFC is absolutely amazing, and like, I'm very happy to be fighting a guy who's been at that level. And I'll be very happy when I go out there and beat a guy who's been at that level and do it convincingly and show everyone how good I am. But yeah, like, it's exciting. These are the type of fights that I want. I mean, he's a very well-rounded fighter. He's good everywhere. I don't think he's great anywhere. He's durable, but like, being durable is not really something you wanna be in fighting. I mean, it just means you can take more of a hiding if you don't get finished. So if he stands in front of me for 15 minutes and is durable, he's going to have a pretty bad looking face after it. So look, we'll see what we're doing. But I'm really excited to get into the cage and prove how good I am and show everybody, like, this guy was in the UFC. He was in there for 15 minutes with 2 lads at the highest level in this game. He was very unlucky in his decisions, as in he was well able to compete with the lads. He wasn't out of his depth in the UFC. Just 2 fights didn't go his way, and that's it. I mean, I do think he's absolutely good enough to be in the UFC, and he's very awkward. He'll cause a lot of people problems. But I'm just going to go out there and show why I am the best, and if he's standing in my way, then I've got to knock him down.
I totally agree with you on that, and that's why I think it is a great test, and it's one that you've been asking for a long time.
I mean, it's a fight. It's a couple fights late. I mean, the only reason this whole tournament is set up is because no one else has a win.
It is strange, the welterweight division, and there's been some criticism about some of the other opponents that are in the tournament. How do you feel about other people in the tournament and their right to be there?
I don't care about whose right is to be there or not. I care about winning the belt, and I don't care who's on the other side of the bracket or who's in front of me right now. I just want to get there. I just want to get that belt wrapped around my waist, do what I said I was going to do since I turned pro. Said I was going to win the Cage Warriors belt, said I was going to go to the UFC, and then said I was going to literally do exactly what I'm doing in Cage Warriors in the UFC, winning. So yeah, for me, it's just about doing everything I've said and showing everybody that I am the best and that I know I'm the best and that I've proven it time and time again.
That's how did they do the draw in the first place? Do you know? Was it random, or did they select it, or?
I don't really know, and I don't really care. I mean, Rostem's coming off 2 losses. Jack Grant, I love him, but he's coming off two of his last 3 fights have been losses. Flaminas, I think 2 of his last 3.
155.
155. So he's now
Yeah.
moving up weight, which look great. But like, if you've lost to 2 lightweights, how do you think you're going to beat me? I love Jack Grant. I really do. I text him about this, being
I
like,
love Jack as well. Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I was like, no, does this mean we're gonna have to hate each other when we both win? I was like, oh no, I was like, I like him, and I was like, we should just both walk out to why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? I really like Jack, but I sent him a text and said, look, mate, I wish you all the best. I'll talk to him in obviously when we're over in the trilogy now next week. But look, if and when we both win, because I do think Jack.
Is that how you see it going? You think he's going to beat Flaminas?
Yeah, I think Jack should beat Flaminas. I think he's gonna be bigger and stronger at 170, and I think he'll just go in. And I think he should probably sub Flaminas. But yeah, I said to him, I was like, look, we're both in this for the same reason. We both want to be a champion. We both want to get to the UFC. And if I'm standing in your way and you're standing in mine, then we're going to have to knock one of each other out of the way. And that's it. And he was like, I like Jack. I don't want to sit here and say stuff like he's lost 2 of his last 3 fights, but it's the reality of things. I don't mean to be a bit of a dick, but like, and then Flaminas has lost 2 of his last 4 or 2 of his last 3. And I subbed the guy unconscious that subbed him. It's like, so
yeah.
This whole tournament is to slow me down and to get me next fight, because no one else has a win. Aaron Khalid lost his fight and shit the bed against Diamani. Diamani then books off and goes and fights in another organization rather than fighting for the title. So I don't know what people.
That's what I think's really tough about this division. Like, it's lost some of the big players, like recently to other.
Well, when you look at the guys, when you look at the guys that were in this in the welterweight division, end of last year, you're talking. You had Nicholas Dalby, Ross Houston, Reese McKee, Alex Lahore. They're just a couple of the names, and I mean, I'm sure there's more, but they're some of the guys I was looking at them going, right, let's fight one of them. And now I'm fighting these other guys. I'm like, oh, I'm better than all these other guys. I don't mean to be bad or come across as a dick, but I am. And I'm supremely confident because I know how good I am. I know how hard I work. And yeah, that's just the way it is. So if everyone else had done their job and won fights, I would probably be fighting for a title right now. But I done my job and the rest of the lads didn't. So I'm going to be a dick about it from now on.
What did you think? Did you read Thundercat's tweet, Craig White's tweet about the tournament? He said, I remember a time in MMA long ago where there didn't have to be titles on the line for the sake of it and where all involved were deserving.
Well, I know for a fact he's not talking about me now, so that's absolutely fine. And he can say whatever he wants about anyone else. I don't really care.
I imagine that he's talking about the people that are coming off losses.
Again, I can't control what other people have done in their last fights. I've won my fights. I think in fact, I know I have the longest win streak in Cage Warriors at the moment. 5 fights in Cage Warriors. I've won all 5. I mean, what else? What else could I have done up to this point? What else could I have done more? Literally nothing. So I've gone in there every single time. I've proved how good I am. I've proved what I'm saying is right. I've proved how good I am, how good I'm going to be. And every time I'm getting better and better and better and better. And I just need a platform. I just need a fight to go in there and do it again and do it again. That's all I'm doing. So in 2 more fights, I will be the welterweight champ. And I'll be sitting here 7-0 with a nice bit of gold wrapped on my waist or around my shoulder, and I'll be like, right, what do I do next? Do the UFC come calling? Do I defend the belt? Is there someone that is going to interest me to defend the belt? Do I go up and move weight and fight for the middleweight belt?
You've talked about being a 2-weight champ before. Well, is that something you want to achieve before you go to the UFC, or you're not bothered which one comes first?
So, okay, well, look, obviously I'd like it. Right, I don't think it's necessary. I don't like. I like the idea of it because I look at that division and I'm like I can beat the guys there. Like I train with the best middleweight in Europe. Like I still feel like Webby is better than all the other guys. I mean, in reality, like, it's 1-1 against him and Fredericks. I mean, Fredericks stopped him in the title fight, but James won that first fight. So, and James dominated that fight until he didn't. You know what I mean? He won every second of that fight until he lost. I know it sounds really bad, but he said it himself. So the reason about the middleweight division is I have to see what James is doing. I'm not going to go up and fight for that title if James is knocking around that. So I really don't really know, Katie. But would I like to go up and win it if there's a chance to do it? Yeah, why wouldn't I? Do I think it's necessary? No. It's like people going up and fighting for double champ in the UFC. You don't have to go up a weight to be the best fighter in the world. You don't have to.
No,
But
I agree with you on that.
And you think you can. Exactly. Like, if you want to and you think you can, then why not? I mean, It is what it is. It all depends on the personal preference. And I don't think that me going up to middleweight is something that I have to do to get signed to the UFC. I mean, if I want to fight a welterweight again and win, I'm going to go anyway. Would I like to do it for the whole storyline of he's from Dublin, Ireland, he's a 2-weight world champion? Who was it? Oh, the last guy to do that, the only guy to do it was Conor McGregor, that is. Yeah. Oh, all right. So this guy, all right. Yeah. So the whole storyline behind it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I want to do it? But then again, Katie, if the UFC come calling, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to talk to the team around me and go, what do we do? What do you want to do? I wouldn't mind having 3 fights in Cage Warriors this year.
Yeah.
That's
another reason why I might like to see you do something like that, just because I feel like it doesn't hurt to have a few more fights under your belt before you go to the UFC. And some of the matchmaking is a little bit weird in the UFC at the moment. And all it takes is 2 strange matchups, or even 1 strange matchup, 1 bad decision, and suddenly you can be out again. Like, I don't think it hurts to have a few more fights under your belt before you go. And I would say that to anyone.
No, agreed. I understand what you're saying, but firstly, when we get there, we're not coming back out. We're in. Once we're in. That's it. I don't lose, Katie, right? But 2 more fights, I'll be 7-0. I'll have the belt around my waist, right? Now it's a case of, right, what do we want to do next? And this is something, obviously, I'm not looking past my next fight next week, but you have to plan for the future as well, and you have to think what is going to happen. So when I'm in the belt and I am 7-0, and I know that it's probably going to be around June or July when I fight for the belt, and I've probably got 5 to 6 months left in the year, I could absolutely fight around September, October, November, and then I could sign for the UFC towards the end of the year and have 3 fights, or the UFC's come calling and I sign and fight in December in the UFC. I don't really know, and I don't really care. Right now, I've got to get this fight done, but once we get the belt and once we've completed everything on the kind of the wish list or the to-do list, which is stay undefeated and get the Cage Warriors welterweight strap, then we'll weigh up our options and we'll see what is best. Is there a point in going to UFC now if they come calling, obviously there is, but would we like 1 more to progress it that little bit more and give myself maybe 6 more months? I'm ready now. I know I'm ready now, but this is where I've got to listen to the people I have around me. Sit down and talk to Chris. Sit down and talk to Tom and Carl Pendred and lads who have been there, lads who understand it, and lads who have my back and want the best of me, and see what's next. I can't sit here and make that decision. I wouldn't make that decision without talking to all of them, and they know that. So it's a case of let's just wait and see. Let's get this fight done, then we'll get the second fight and win the belt, and then we'll sit down and talk and see what's next.
I totally agree with you, and I wouldn't expect anything else other than you to think that you're ready right now. That's exactly how you should be feeling. And I don't disagree with you either. I just sometimes think it's nice to get a few more. Let's go to some questions. I know we've only got limited time with you today, so I want to get all of these out. But Stoomboy says, all of us at MMA UK always enjoy watching your fights, and you only seem to be getting better and better. Do you have a timescale of how quickly you want things to happen in your career? So we've talked about getting to the UFC. How long do you think it would take you to get a belt in that division?
So I don't think about how long it's going to take to get to the belt. When I think about my progression in terms of where do I see myself, like ideally, and I've said this before, like I want to get in and get out. Like find a sport that you don't want to overstay, like you're welcome in, like the the young eat the old. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of that thing. Like, the longer you're in there, the more chance you have of the younger generation, like me right now, coming up and chomping on people's heels, trying to make my name off their careers. And I'd very much like to get to where I want to be, and then get out, because I'm once I've proven my worth, once I've proven where I said I'm gonna be, I'll be very happy with that. So basically, once I've proven I'm the best and I've shown that, then I'll get out.
So what retirement age looking like?
Well, ideally, I don't see. I'm thinking like 30s, because I'm 23 now. If I sign for the UFC this year, I'll be 23 in the UFC. If I fight 3 times a year for 6 years, like, you've got to, like, think about it. That's a lot of fights in the UFC, just in general. Like, if I was to fight 2 times a year for 6 years, that's 12 fights in the UFC. There's not a lot of people that have 12 fights in the UFC. And then it's absolutely not going to take me 12 fights to get to a title fight, because of the way I am, my personality, the way I talk, the way I fight. I know I'll get there faster. So I don't really think about it. I just be like, I want to be active. I want to go in there. I want to progress. So whether I have 2-3 fights every year, then we'll see what happens. But like, you're potentially talking, I could have between 12 to 18 fights in the next, like, once I sign for UFC at the age of 23 and fight by the age of 24. By the time I'm 30, I'll have had 12 to 18 fights in the UFC.
This guy's got it all mapped out.
I'm smarter than people. I think about it all.
I know. Good man, Ian. How you doing? Wishing you all the best, buddy. That's from Gold Diamond.
Man. Thank you, sir. Yeah, look, I'm doing
and
good.
Sean Denny, the lovely Sean Denny. Has Chris taught you his classic snarl face for your pre-fight video package?
Right. First thing, Sean, do I look like I could pull off a snarl? Do you see how pretty I am? A snarl with me just looks like I'm kind of like taking a shit. Right? It's like, I'm too pretty to snarl, right? People who try to look mean, I'm pretty. I just give a nice little smile and like, hi.
You do smile, don't you? You smile at everyone. Do you smile even when people are like shit talking you?
People shit talking, like, yes. If someone tries to shit talk me, you're just opening the door to something that I try to hold back so much, and that's my mouth. I talk a lot, but if someone opens the door,
you're trying to hold it back.
Oh, Katie, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm holding it back until I'm signed to the UFC. When I sign for the UFC, no one can sit here and go, this kid needs to shut his mouth. Who does he think he is? When I sign for the UFC, it's all free. It's all ready to go. And I'm just going to start showing people me. I'm going to just go, do you know what? I don't care what anyone says anymore. But until then, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to shut my mouth. I'm just going to do my fight and let my fighting take me to where I'll be. And once I've signed that contract to the UFC, it's like, let's do this.
Ladies and gents, this is Ian shutting his mouth. I can't wait until he goes full throttle on everyone.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you about a few fights that are coming up outside of your fight, friends, teammates, and then going back to the UFC tonight. But I wanted to talk about Oban Elliott. I know you two are mates, and he's moving up to 170 this time, and he's facing one of your former opponents. So I'm so excited to see him back. He obviously had that health scare, and we weren't sure how long it was going to be until we saw him back. How do you see that fight going?
Firstly, I'm delighted to see Oban back. I talked to Oban quite a lot. It just reminds me, I've been so busy that I haven't even talked to anyone. I must give him a call and see how he is and see how he's feeling. But I'm delighted to see him back. I love him. I think he's a really nice guy, and I'm excited to see him get into the cage. And I think welterweight is the smart decision for him because of obviously the issues he's had in the past. So I think he's a very good fighter, and I think he'll do very well. And look, McManus is a big guy, so he might cause Oban problems, but I think Oban can go in there and get the job done quite convincingly. I think he's very good, and I think he'll be a lot bigger and a lot stronger at 170, and he'll feel more energized. And I know he was saying to me that 155 was really, really hard for him. So I'm hoping he goes in and he gets a win, because I do really, really like him.
Yeah, I'm just delighted that he's back and just can't wait to see him back in there. We've also got James Webb is going to be on the trilogy, your Team KF teammate. I'm buzzing to see him back in there as well. It's just, oh, I'm so excited for this whole trilogy. Every time I talk about one, I just like...
Every time I talk to you, you're so hyped up about the trilogies and Cage Wars. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm super excited to see Webby back in. Webby is, well, I've said this so many times, Webby is the hardest worker I know. I push myself so hard because I've seen the work Webby did when he was on his rise up, and that's part of the reason why I do as much as I do, is because I've seen him do it, and that's kind of just in me now, is how hard I've seen him work. I've kind of adapted that hard work, and even still, he just works his ass off. So yeah, I'm super excited to see Webby back in there. I think this is going to be a fight where he's just going to go into the same thing again. I mean, you can put Webby into that cage against anyone, and he's going to do what he does. He's going to push them to the cage. He's going to take them down, and he's going to engage in the grappling. And the best part about it is, Katie, everybody knows what he's going to do. He still does it.
Yeah.
So, and people say he doesn't have great striking. He fucking does. He just doesn't use it enough. He's got really good hands and really good kicks. He knows that his best way is just grab a hold of someone, because when he grabs a hold of someone, he is so strong. So yeah, I expect nothing else but me and him to get 2 wins again and keep this kind of 100%. Every time me and Webby have fought together, we've won. I think no, I messed it up. We fought together twice and we both won twice. We've had 3 first-round finishes and I got the second-round finish. But yeah, we've absolutely smashed it together. We just thrive off each other's energy, and yeah, I can't wait to see him get back in there and do it again.
Who's fighting first on the card?
I have no idea. I don't care. I have no idea. I like opening the show, so I wouldn't mind opening the show. I like the first slot in the main card because you're guaranteed to know what time you're on. You're going to be on about 9 o'clock because obviously that's when the show kicks off. And also, I just like it. Get it done. Get it in. If I'm not the last, I don't mind being the first.
Yeah. I've got a feeling I think I've seen a fight order, and I don't think you're anywhere near the beginning. Sorry. I just wanted to ask you as well before I let you go about a UFC fight in your division tonight. Leon Edwards. Poor guy hasn't fought since July 2019. He's had so many fights lined up that have fallen through. I'm sure you can relate to that side of things. But how do you see it going? He's fighting Bilal Muhammad. It's going to be a tough matchup, actually.
It's a good fight. It's a really good fight. I think Leon is very underrated. Not for any reason other than people think he's boring, Katie, which is because he doesn't have the biggest personality in the world. But the guy can bring it. The guy's got some serious skill. I think he's a brilliant fighter. I think he'll get the win quite comfortably tonight, whether it be by stoppage or a unanimous decision. I don't see him losing the fight. I think he's very, very, very good, and he deserves to be up there as one of the best welterweights in the world. So, and I've seen him; he's looking in ridiculous shape. So
I know
I'm expecting big things from him. I think he's a ridiculously good fighter, and I hope he wins and gets a shot for the belt because he's been.
Do you think he will get the next title shot?
He's been.
Do you think he will get the next title shot?
I don't know in regards to what's happening around the rest of the division and people are like Masvidal and Usman. I don't know, but he's absolutely in title contention regardless of what happens when he wins. He deserves a shot if he wins this fight. But when he wins, I think he should be next. I think that's only fair.
No, I agree with you. I just can't see it happening, to be honest. I think the UFC will make him fight again.
So sometimes money makes fights, right? The UFC is a business at the end of the day, and for example, Usman and Masvidal is a massive fight, and if they want to run it back because Usman didn't or Masvidal didn't get a camp, then you know what? Fair play, right? Then go ahead. But I do think Edwards will eventually get his title shot. and if and when he wins tonight, because I think he will, yeah, I think it'll be well deserved.
I'm a big fan of Masvidal, but I've just got no desire to see that fight again. I don't see it going much differently after a full camp. And
Katie, the problem is Usman's beat 8 of the current top 10. Like, he's so good. Leon Edwards being one of them, right? Yeah, Leon Edwards being one of the people
that like, was the last person to beat Edwards.
Yeah, he's beaten everyone. So yeah, the welterweight division's in a bit of a weird situation right now. It's going to have to be rematches for the belt, because you've got Gilbert Burns, you've got Masvidal, you've got Edwards there, you've got Covington there. So there's a lot of big fights that can be made. It's just a case of what do the UFC want to do next. I'm assuming it's going to be money. Yeah. And Masvidal sells tickets and he sells the pay-per-views. Obviously, I don't know what stories of fans, but he's the biggest draw other than Usman. So yeah, I want to see Colby and Usman again. I really like it. I think it was a great fight the first time. I wouldn't mind seeing it run back. So yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, there's a lot of good matches to be made. It's an exciting division. It's just hard when you have a dominant champion like that that's already beat the guys. Like, come here, I've said this before. I don't want to beat guys I've already beaten again. Especially if you finish them and you've dominated them for 5 rounds or 3 rounds. Why should I waste my time beating a guy that I already destroyed the first time round because you want to see it again? I've already smashed him. Give me someone new. Give me another challenge. If he's not good enough, make him prove to everyone else that he's good enough and then come back to me. So yeah. I agree. I totally agree with you. It's going to be good, but I have to confess, I'm more excited about the Cage Warriors trilogy than I am even was about last week's UFC card. Like, this is just all the people I love, all the people I watch grow through, from their first pro fights or their amateur fights in some cases. Like, for me, it's the best. And just having it over 3 nights, knowing I'm getting to see everyone. Well, you see it firsthand. You've talked to a lot of us before we were anything. Like, you see us coming up right through the scenes, and you'll get us on for an interview. And then once you've talked to people, you get a connection to them, and you want to see them do well. And it's brilliant. This is why, like, it's important to have people like you on the scene, because you help grow our social medias. You help put out our thoughts. You help us, and it's nice to have your people's support. And it's great to have these things like in the UK and in Ireland where you have people backing you. So it's nice, and like it's just a case of you spoke to probably 90% of the fighters on the cards. So obviously you're going to be looking forward to it. So yeah, it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to it myself. I'm so invested, honestly. I definitely cry into my pillow when things don't go right for people, and I'm absolutely over the moon when they do. And honestly, when I saw this get announced for you, the welterweight tournament, I was just like, just imagining how chuffed you must be, and just like, the next part all planned out for you. You finally got your answer as to, what it's going to take for you to get that shot at the belt. It's mapped out now. I'm very happy. Like, I've talked to Chris about it. It's perfect. 2 more fights. We get the belt, then we'll sit down and we'll discuss what's next, and we'll decide what's next as a team. But I'm super happy. It's mapped out. 2 more fights and I get that belt, and that's it. That's all I'm worried about right now. Nothing else matters. Just I need to get that belt. I need to get the win this weekend, and then I'll move on. I get the belt. But that's my focus right now, is go out there and do me and have fun doing it. Oh, I'm so excited for you. I'm wishing you the best of skill for Friday, and I'll be tuning in. Don't you worry. Really, are you excited for this? You haven't said. I know, I should definitely mention that more. You take care. Wrap yourself in cotton wool till next week. Pass all your COVID tests and just... I appreciate it. Thank you for your time as always, Katie. Thank you so much, Ian. Love you lots. Bye. Hey, take care. All the best.